Good morning. How y'all doing? I want to start off just by thanking Robin Loudermilk, who chairs the board for the Atlanta Police Foundation, and David Abney. I can't tell you how much his involvement means to this occasion and so many others. And of course, Dave Wilkinson and our police chief, George Turner. Let's just lift these gentlemen up and give them a huge round of applause. They deserve it. Robin, David, I just want to thank you. I also want to lift our police chief up and every single woman and man on the Atlanta Police Department who's present today. Please stand up and just let the applause flow over you. These women and men are amazing. Please stand up. I just want to thank you. Doesn't that sound good? Oh, they deserve it. I also want to thank my colleagues who I think do an amazing job for the city of Atlanta. That's each and every member of the Atlanta City Council, my incredible partners. Please stand up. I want folks to see you. We don't do this alone. I see Kwanzaa, I see Andre, I see George Shepard, who's terrific and amazing, Ivory. You all, we're at a real special moment right now. If we didn't do anything else today but see the video that we saw and hear the amazing stories of the women and men who protect us, this breakfast would have been worthwhile. But I think it's particularly amazing that we've been at this 13 years together, and the energy and the excitement and the presence in this room is as great as it has ever been. Now, I look across the room, so I know that there are a lot of very busy, very important people who are here. So it says something about the Atlanta Police Foundation that after 13 years, you're all still here, all still energized, Alex, all still ready to go. And I'm here today to make the argument that that is the reason why crime in Atlanta is down 29% since January 4, 2010. I'm here today to make the argument that's why our police department had 1.6 million interactions with the public and fired their weapons less than 10 times. I'm here to make the argument that that's why our police chief, George Turner, made the decision prior to controversy that when you have officer-involved shootings, that we would call in the GBI to make sure that we had a fair process. I'm here to make the argument that it is all of the good work that's been done when nobody was looking, when people really weren't having the broad conversations that facilitated those moments during those rough 5 days in the summer when the eyes of America were on our police officers and on our Georgia State Patrol. And I don't think we could have been more proud or had a better force. I believe it was 13 years leading up to that very moment. And you know what happens when you have excellence and leadership and a genuine desire to do well? You deliver concrete results. And so guess what happened during the civic activists, during those protests that was so tough and so hard? At the end or the winding down, when we were working and sitting in a room, we were working on the responses to the civic activists, because what I want in the city of Atlanta is a community of mutual respect, a community where you respect the women and men of the police department, but that we also understand that because we're human, we're not perfect, and that we keep our eyes open and our ears open. And when people have genuine criticism that comes from an authentic place, we would listen and we would try to respond. And so, Curly, that's why I made the decision to actually respond to the civic activists, and we answered every single one of the 25 requests that they put forward, and we answered them on the internet and in writing. Didn't mean that we agreed with everything, but it did say that we wanted to make our position known. And so today I'm asking you to stick with the Atlanta Police Foundation as we finish out our capital campaign, because we are moving along on multiple fronts. And so I was sitting in my office and I got a phone call right at the end of the toughest times in the civic protest. I think this was Chief Turner after we had gone to the governor's mansion. Phone rings and it's Jeff Immelt, the CEO of GE, and he said, you know what, Mayor? I've been following Atlanta and watching what's going on television. And I've got a colleague named Russell Stokes, and he's been following it too. And we don't want to intrude, but we want to add, we want to help, Robin. And so, of course, I said we would love to help, and we were trying to figure out what time it would take place, and what we decided was there was no time like the present. And so from that moment on, Russell Stokes, Chief Turner, my leadership team, GE's leadership team, GE's energy team, made a decision that we were going to try to make sure that our officers were the best trained officers in the United States of America. And so we announced on last Friday a partnership with GE where they will invest $1 million in the training for the Atlanta Police Department to help our leadership culture, to make sure that we have efficiency in our spending on officer recruitment. And if that doesn't deserve a round of applause, I don't know what does. Hey, Russell Stokes, will you stand up and let everybody see you? What it shows is when you do good things, because you all understand the quality of GE, they spend $1 billion on training a year. And so they wanted to look under the hood. And what they saw when they looked under the hood, Chief Turner, was a department that already trains 22 weeks and it is really moving the needle forward. Just the other day, I stood with Arthur Blank, and we were working together with Richard Dugas from Pulte Homes, working on an extraordinary initiative where Pulte Homes is building 25 new townhomes in Vine City and English Avenue. And the other day, we had the first 5 homes where we were just seeing the concrete getting laid and the structure being formed. And we have a waiting list of 48 police officers for that program already. And everybody knows that when you have a police officer that lives in the neighborhood, you've got a safer neighborhood. In June, I sat at the funeral for Muhammad Ali, and there was something that hit my ear and made me think about the Atlanta Police Foundation. Muhammad Ali's widow got up, and she started her remarks by saying, at times like these, people need to remember that the greatest boxer of all time started in boxing because his bicycle got stolen, and he was so angry, but he ran into a white police officer. And the police officer said, young man, as opposed to just being angry, why don't you come down to the police athletic league and work off some of that frustration? He ended up becoming one of the best boxers in the world. Think of what it means to have our police officers in their communities. We might not make another Muhammad Ali, but we might make a firefighter. We might make a police officer. We might make a mayor. We might make a lawyer. And so the new youth center that they're working to build right now is absolutely amazing. It's a $5 million investment in our most challenged neighborhoods so that when our police officers pick up a truant, as opposed to waiting with that truant, they're going to be able to take that young person, that young boy, that young girl to a community center that can be involved in changing their lives. Everything I'm saying is the Atlanta Police Foundation. Great institutions, great organizations work along multiple concentrated lines of excellence at once. And so I'm here today because I want you to know I'm ready to go. We have to finish this capital campaign. The city of Atlanta made the decision on our own with my command team that we're going to provide every single police officer in the city of Atlanta with a vest that could have taken an assault weapon round and a helmet to match. That's 1,500 officers and 100 people on the fire department and 50 people on the corrections department, because I don't want my people outworking or outgunned when they come to save somebody else's life. We're special, Atlanta. When the president landed on the Monday after the DNC convention, he got in my car. You wanted to know what he talked about before he got out of his car? The Atlanta Police Department and how they had handled themselves. What people didn't hear was that George Turner's police department had already been one of the 15 police departments as a part of the President's National Commission on Excellence in Policing. So the bottom line is this. You are in the right place today, because all of us, no matter who we are, no matter how much success we have in our lives, have to have something else to work on that's bigger than us. None of us wants to be sitting around waiting for the tea time. All of us want to be making sure that despite the enormous blessings we may have personally, that, my goodness, somebody else is getting helped because of the lives that we live and the contributions that we make. And so I came this way, number one, to humbly say thank you. Because one of the mistakes that I believe that we make in public service is not thanking the people who keep the trains running on time when nobody else is looking. The second thing I came to do is to encourage you and to report out to you and to explain to you why I believe that this 13 years has been worth it. And then the third thing I came to do is to ask you to stay with us, stay with me, but more importantly than staying with me, stay with the women and men of our police department, because it leads to a city that is stronger, that is safer, and that is better. My Bible says, pray to the Lord on the city's behalf, because in its safety and in its comfort, you shall find your own safety and your own comfort. Let's follow our prayer and our good works and our goodwill with the action that is needed to make the City of Atlanta Police Department the best in the United States of America. That is our charge. That's what we're going to accomplish. God bless you. And with that, I bring up our police chief, the City of Atlanta's police chief, and my friend George Turner. Please let him hear from you.
Thank you. Let's give it up for Mayor Reed. He's an extremely high-intense leader, extremely supportive of public safety. Thank you, sir, for your leadership, for not just for the Atlanta Police Department, but also for public safety in our city. The mayor has taken all my points, but it's all right. I'll take a few moments to just acknowledge a few people, and then we'll move this program, because really it's about acknowledging the men and women that have done amazing things that you'll continue to hear as we move forward in this program. Let me just take a quick moment to acknowledge personally the city council members who are here presently. Thank you on my behalf and the men and women of the Atlanta Police Department. Thank you for what you do. Let me also acknowledge my public safety partners in the city of Atlanta. I think Chief Baker and the fire department and his cadre of officers are here. Let me just, would you stand and let us acknowledge you, please, wherever you are in the building? Thank you, Chief. Let's keep the lights up for a quick second. Also, let me acknowledge Chief Patrick Labat, our corrections chief, who is amazing, doing extremely successful work as we continue to eliminate the blight in our city. And then all of our state, local, and federal partners that's in law enforcement. I know I've seen John Horn, he's at my table. Would you please stand and let's acknowledge you all, because the fact is, the work that we're doing, there's no way that we can get it done without the likes of Paul Howard, who is our prosecutor, who allows us to move forward aggressively. So if you are a law enforcement agency head or represent another agency, would you please stand and let us acknowledge you? I know I saw our president of the Georgia Chiefs Association. Thank you for your partnership. And then finally, the men and women, both sworn and non-sworn, of the Atlanta Police Department. I know that you have stood up, the mayor acknowledged you, but allow me to acknowledge you and thank you for the work that you do. Would you please stand and allow me to acknowledge you? All the men and women of the Atlanta Police Department, please, thank you. Thank you. The truth is, the accolades that I get and the mayor get, we really stand on your backs. The work that you do, the opportunity that you have to be ambassadors for our city, I'm extremely grateful to you. And then finally, the administration. I know Dan Gordon is here. He's our COO. He does a great job in supporting the Atlanta Police Department and all the members of cabinet. Thank you for being here. So for me, I just really came to say thank you. Thank you to our business partners, the business community that Dave Wilkerson so elegantly lead on behalf of the men and women of the Atlanta Police Department, and of course, on the Police Foundation. There have been some amazing stories already told today. I'll just finish with one. You know, I grew up in the city of Atlanta. I spent the first 9 years of my life in public housing. I'm not supposed to be standing in front of you, but it was a police officer that really gave me an insight on what might life have for me. I acknowledge so many heroes in this room. You are represented with badges and guns, but you also carry briefcases and wear dresses and laptops. Every person in this audience who have supported the Atlanta Police Department to make us the safest big city in America, you are a hero. I specifically thank the men and women that are working daily in the mentoring programs throughout our city. Our Police Athletic League, as you saw earlier in the display. Our horse patrol guys that are doing mentoring programs that are using those horses to break the ice, to have relationships with young people that need it more desperately. Our task force officers that utilize their bicycles to trend and change the dialogue between police officers and civilians. I find myself standing in front of you because I had the grace and the insight of a police officer that changed the direction of my life. I'm also here because I had a mom and dad, working class, that cared about me and wanted me to do better than they did. Now, Ms. Mayor, you talk all the time about having that example, being that example for people to thrive to. I believe every day that our men and women come to work and serve as that example for an opportunity for young people to change their lives. And that's why I'm so excited about this At Promise Youth initiative that's going on the west side, in English Avenue in Vine City. I'm confident that that will do more for crime than anything that we could possibly do. It will place police officers in an environment that they're mentoring and caring for young people as opposed to putting cuffs on them. That's why I think the heroes that you see in the Police Athletic League, as well as in all of our mentoring programs, are so keen to what we're doing. The mayors have said it, our crime is down to the 1960 levels. Been documented by the FBI, and those numbers are actual facts. We're down another 4 points this year. Down 29% since the mayor took office and I became the police chief. That means nothing to an individual that's been a member of a violent act that have taken place in their community. We still have so much work to do, but we've got to be able to eliminate those individuals from becoming criminals. And that's why that youth initiative is so important to me. And then finally, I want to talk a little about our secure initiative, where we're placing officers in very challenging communities. As the mayor talked about, We broke ground on 5 new homes where we have 40-plus officers that are waiting in line to become homeowners in our city so that they can make a difference. They're not just moving in these houses to have a great situation. It is. It's a great opportunity for them to become homeowners. But part of the criteria of them being involved is that they have to be mentors in the community. They have to share with the young people that are in those struggling communities to give them a light so that they can continue to move in their life. And then finally, as we move into the program and acknowledge the men and women and the stories that will be told, I just really want to say thank you to my police department, the men and women that do this work. We've talked about technology advancements. We've talked about equipment, and thank you to the mayor and the city council for the $1.9 million that have been approved to buy those ballistic vests and helmets. That's major. The cars that we drive, the equipment that we use, as well as the weapons. But the biggest thing is our personnel. I'm confident that because our police officers represent this community, the diversity of our department really states exactly what our community is all about. Back in 1948, business leaders like yourself thought it important to change what we were seeing in our community. In 1948, we hired our first black police officers in the city. When other communities were divided and tearing each other down, the business community in this and the faith community decided that we needed to see something different. And Mr. Mayor, because of that, we are the most diverse police department in our country. I think no matter where people come from in their background, no matter where they were raised, when they get to the Atlanta Police Department, they become part of the tapestry that is Atlanta. And it matters. And so to the men and women of this department, thank you for what you do every day. So now it's my honor to introduce to you all Dave Wilkerson, our CEO, COO, and President of the Atlanta Police Foundation. Thank you, Dave, for your friendship and your partnership. Thank you for what you do for us.
Well, good morning, everyone. How about the leadership in this city between Mayor Reed and Chief Turner? How about a round of applause for that? Well, good morning to you all. I'm thrilled to see you all here today. Every day, Atlanta police officers get out of bed, strap on their boots, pin their badges to their uniform shirts, and head out the door to protect the residents of Atlanta. It is one of few careers where your job does not end simply because you have punched the clock, and one of the only jobs where your life can be placed in danger at any given moment. Every year, the Atlanta Police Department honors the exemplary service among these brave men and women at this Crime is Toast breakfast. And it is my privilege now to introduce the 2016 Crime is Toast Award recipients and honorees. The first award is the Marion Lee Trailblazer Award. It's a new award. This year, we have a brand new award. It's called the Marion Lee Trailblazer Award, sponsored by the Atlanta Police Historical Society. It is designed to recognize an individual that has made a positive contribution and created an enduring mark, change, or accomplishment in the operation and or reputation of the Atlanta Police Department. The Atlanta Police Historical Society Committee will determine nominees to be presented to the Board of Trustees, who will vote annually to nominate the recipient of this award. And each winner will have a legacy marker placed at Atlanta Police Headquarters. Marion Debo Lee joined the Atlanta Police Department in December of 1973 and was a graduate of the Police Academy, class number 76. After serving as a patrol officer from 73 to 77, she was assigned to the Police Commissioner's Office to organize the first retired officer roundup during the summer of 1977. This retired officer roundup was such an epic success, it has been hosted by APD ever since for the past 38 years. And in the fall of 77, she also organized and led a celebration to recognize the city of Atlanta's first black patrol officers, and the Atlanta Police Department led her to be assigned to the office of the chief as a public information officer. Mary went on to serve in this capacity until she retired in 2007. And during her 30 years of service, she kept scrapbooks of the stories and the articles about the police department and started collecting uniforms, equipment, and other items in the hope that someday an organization would be established to preserve and promote the history of our Atlanta Police Department. Today, as she hoped, we have established the Atlanta Police Historical Society, and now in her memory, we have the Marion Lee Trailblazer Award, and I'd like to invite her son, Doug Evans, to come up and accept the award on her behalf. Come on up, Doug. The next award is for crime reduction in a police zone, and this year the award goes to Zone 3, accepting is Major Jeff Glazer. Come on up, Jeff. Let's hear it for the officers of Zone 3. Now for our Investigator of the Year, we would like to recognize Investigator Vincent Velasquez as our Investigator of the Year. Come on up, Vinny. Investigator Velasquez's tireless efforts, determination, diligent investigations, and exceptional interview skills allow him to solve multiple cases that have been open for decades. One example dates back to June of 1988 when Leonard Hill's body was found dumped on the side of the road. With no leads, the case eventually turned cold until 27 years later, in 2015, when Investigator Velasquez got a name on a possible suspect, the brother-in-law of the victim. The investigator worked with a family member who was willing to wear a wire and talk with the suspect. During this recording, the suspect described the homicide that he had committed. Congratulations, Investigator Velasquez, for a great job. Our Investigator of the Year. Now for our Supervisor of the Year. This year it goes to Lieutenant Anthony Singh. Come on up, Anthony. Upon his arrival in Zone 1, Lieutenant Singh quickly started recognizing each individual's strength and began capitalizing on them, and therefore empowering many of his team members, which has led to a huge boost in morale. Lieutenant Singh leads by example and demonstrates a superior work ethic on a daily basis. When he is not at his desk completing paperwork, he is out on the street being a visible, proactive enforcer of all aspects of the law. Members of the team nominated him by saying, Lieutenant Singh ranks, in our opinion, at the very top of commanders with an uncanny ability to boost morale and makes each of us feel as though we are an invaluable asset to the watch. The result is an increased performance and proficiency. Congratulations, Lieutenant, as the Supervisor of the Year. Now for our Civilian of the Year. We would like to honor the Atlanta Police Department's AFIS team as the collective Civilian Employees of the Year. Come on up, guys. The AFIS team has done a superb job of delivering quality customer service to both the law enforcement community and the general public. They've contributed to the department's mission of creating a safer Atlanta by reducing crime, ensuring the safety of the citizens, and building trust in partnership with the community by not only assisting investigators by identifying suspects, but by working closely with the District Attorney's Office to help and obtain convictions. During 2015 through 16 recognition period, these latent team members have processed over 7,500 latent fingerprint cases, compared over 136,000 suspects, and identified over 4,500 latent fingerprints. They have registered 4,360 unsolved latent cases into the system for comparison to arrestees as they are booked into the Atlanta, Fulton, and DeKalb County jails. Their accomplishments also include the identification of suspects in 30 homicides, that's 30 homicides, 42 carjackings, 136 robberies, and 420 burglaries. These unsung civilian heroes that make up the AFIS team are Sandra Tullis, Anthony Johnson, Raymond Lozon, and Antoinette Clay. Please join me in recognizing them as our Civilians of the Year. Way to go, guys. Next, we present our Supervisor of the Year, our Civilian Supervisor of the Year award to Scandia McCrary. Come on up, Scandia. Ms. McCrary is a supervisor who, by skillful example, demonstrates a high state of self-discipline and unconscious competence in her daily supervisory and administrative assignments. Her honesty and fairness in dealing with peers and subordinates quickly gained and have helped her maintain the loyalty, support, and trust of those who work with her. Under her own initiative, she, in concert with another supervisor, researched and made recommendations to improve the section's internal awards programs. Congratulations, Scandia, to winning this year's Civilian Supervisor of the Year. Next, we have our Department Commendation. The Department Commendation Award this year goes to Officers Ronald Paxson and Kimberly Williams. Come on up, guys. Ronald and Kimberly were patrolling the Dixie Hills area of Zone 1 when these two officers were flagged down by citizens alerted that a nearby apartment complex was on fire. Officer Williams immediately began directing residents out of the lower apartments of the burning building. Even though one of the upper-level apartments was fully engulfed in flames, Officer Paxson feared that residents may still be in the other upstairs apartments. Through layers of thick smoke, he made his way to the apartment door and began knocking and pounding on the door. With no response, he kicked in the door to the unit and made entry, placing his own safety aside. Officer Paxson found an elderly couple sitting on the sofa, completely unaware of the situation, despite all of the smoke that had entered their apartment. He quickly escorted them out, as well as their pet dog, out of the apartment and down the stairs to safety. Today, we acknowledge Officer Williams and Officer Paxson for their exemplary bravery and dedication to our citizens of Atlanta. Not only did they save the lives, but they remained composed in a highly stressful situation. Congratulations, guys. Next is our Purple Heart Award. The 2016 Purple Heart Award goes to Officer Justin Fong Borden. Come on up, Justin. Officer Fong Borden was dispatched to a call at 40 Peachtree Valley Road to investigate a potential prowler. Upon arriving on the scene and approaching the front door, he was confronted with the first male suspect running out, followed by a second male who aimed and fired his 9mm handgun at the officer. Officer Fawn Borden tried to take cover but was shot in the abdomen. He managed to return fire as the suspect fled. Unfortunately, his body armor prevented the bullet from penetrating, and as backup officers arrived on the scene, he was able to give directions of which direction the suspects fled and their descriptions. Both suspects were apprehended and their gun was recovered from a nearby dumpster. We are very thankful that Officer Fawn Borden was not seriously injured and is here today to be honored as the 2016 Purple Heart Award recipient. Next is our Medal of Honor. On a cold, wet, rainy day last November, Officer Tashina Brown responded to a traffic accident on I-285 southbound. It was raining so hard she could barely see 5 feet in front of her. But she soon discovered a gaping hole in the guardrail and then what looked like the top of a vehicle at the bottom of a steep and rocky ravine. Without any hesitation or fear, she put her own life in jeopardy by making her way down the slope over large, jagged, and slippery rocks. When she did not find anyone in the vehicle, she started searching in the thick trees and along a rising stream. It was in this rushing water, almost waist high, that she found an injured gentleman that was unable to get up and move on his own. Without hesitation, she went into action and with the help of her partner, began rescue efforts and pulled this gentleman from the surging creek. The actions of Officer Tashina Brown were directly responsible for saving the life of this individual. So, ladies and gentlemen, for her selfless bravery and tremendous courage, we proudly honor Officer Tashina Brown with our 2016 Medal of Honor. Tashina, we're all proud of you. Next is Meritorious Service. The Meritorious Service Award goes to two officers, Bari Dermishi and Officer Juan Nunez. You guys come on up. This summer, on a warm evening in June, these officers were on their routine patrol when a citizen flagged them down in the middle of rush hour at the intersection of Piedmont Road and Morosco Drive. They were directed to a car that was stopped but was still running in the middle of the street. All four doors were locked, and inside was a man passed out in the driver's seat, turning blue and drooling. The car was still in gear, and the man failed to brake. The officers could see the gentleman was clearly in need of immediate medical attention, which they requested for EMS and fire to respond to the scene immediately. But Officer Dermishi made a split life-saving decision to use his city-issued baton to break the passenger side window and pull the driver out and begin to render aid. The medical personnel that arrived on the scene acknowledged that if it were not for the quick actions of Officer Dermishi and Officer Nunez, he would most likely not have survived. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in recognizing our Meritorious Service Award recipients, Officer Bari Dermishi and Officer Juan Nunez. Way to go, guys. Now we present the Judge Arthur Kaplan Community Service Award to Sergeant Alicia Turner. Come on up, Sergeant. As As an investigator assigned to the SDU Child Exploitation Unit, Investigator Turner was dedicated and compassionate in dealing with sexually abused children. Investigators in child exploitation know the hours are long, and of course the emotional demands are great. They must investigate some of the most horrific crimes that could be done to any person, let alone to a child. But Investigator Turner took the dedication to children to a whole new level. Sergeant Turner is involved with the Georgia Center for Child Advocacy, called GCAC, and conducts forensic interviews of children in cases of sexual and physical abuse. GCAC is a nonprofit organization, and they put on fundraising events year-round. Sergeant Turner trained for months to take part in the Buckhead Fight Club's corporate fight night last November. She just wanted to do more to help the children that our Atlanta police protects every day. For her continual help, personal commitment, and her selfless giving, we proudly recognize Sergeant Alicia Turner with the Arthur Kaplan Community Service Award. Way to go, Alicia. Our Dennis Mullen Lifetime Achievement Award goes to Investigator David Quinn. Come on up, David. Investigator Quinn joined APD in September of 1985 and retired in September of 2015 after 30 years of dedicated service. He returned to duty by the recapture program. In 2008, he was named the Investigator of the Year, and that same year he flew to San Diego, where he was recognized at the IACP National Convention with an honorable mention as Police Officer of the Year. Just before his retirement, Investigator Quinn began an investigation into the murder of 2 homeless men here in Atlanta. There were no leads in the case, but he was able to link the homicides to another in DeKalb County and another in Decatur. During his investigation, he noticed the shooter was using a unique gun and unique ammunition. He released the information to the media, and just days later got a call from a MARTA officer who found the same kind of ammo on a male suspect that he had arrested for fare evasion. Under Quinn's outstanding interviewing and people skills, the suspect confessed to all 4 murders. Since retiring and joining the recapture program, Investigator Quinn has been working on cold homicide cases and assisting other investigators with their cases while sharing his passion and experience to improve the skills of others. And he has been selected to teach the interview and interrogations block of APD's training course for our new investigators. Ladies and gentlemen, join me in congratulating Investigator David Quinn as our Dennis Mullen Lifetime Achievement Award. Our next award is the Citizen of the Year, and it goes to Mr. Daniel Kiger, a local business owner here in Atlanta. Come on up, Daniel. On February 12, 2016, Officer Daphne and Officer Stokes were approaching a vehicle while investigating a hit-and-run accident. The driver of the vehicle immediately placed his car in drive and accelerated from the scene and headed toward the interstate. Responding officers believed the vehicle would continue toward the interstate and began pursuit in that same direction. At the same time, Daniel Kiger was riding his bicycle near the Carter Center and observed the vehicle drive into the bushes and became stuck. He then saw the driver exit the vehicle and run away on foot. Mr. Kiger then heard the police sirens and realized that police were likely looking for this individual. So he jumped back on his bicycle and quickly rode toward the sirens and located the officers. He took them to the abandoned vehicle and then remained in the area and helped the officers search for the driver, whom was located several hours later. Were it not for Mr. Kiger bringing officers to the vehicle and ultimately describing what he saw, it is very likely the suspect would not have been captured. We value Mr. Kiger's quick actions and willingness to assist our police officers, and we honor him today as our Citizen of the Year. Next is our Crime Stopper of the Year award. This year, we are proud to recognize investigator Jason Summers as the 2016 Crime Stopper of the Year. Come on up, Jason. Investigator Summers is truly an incredible investigator and an outstanding representative of the Atlanta Police Department. He is the embodiment of the consummate police professional investigator, as he does everything he can to track down criminals and secure justice for those who have been harmed. As a member of the APD's gang unit, he investigates a wide range of hyperactive, extremely violent criminals and street gang members. The investigations that he undertakes are often time-consuming and complex in nature. This past year, he has been the lead investigator on numerous smash-and-grab burglaries that gripped the city of Atlanta in late of 2015. He filed and conducted countless search warrants, analyzed and combed through numerous cell phones for vital evidence, traveled to and worked with multiple other jurisdictions, and conducted multiple interviews with subsequent arrestees. Investigator Summers may be one of the best interviewers on the whole of the Atlanta Police Department, as he is so good. By the end of several interviews, the arrestees would oftentimes write letters of apologies to the stores they broke into and they stole from. This is a testament to the hard work and dedication that Investigator Summers demonstrates on a regular basis. He truly understands the outcome of a collaborative effort and is a true partner to Crime Stoppers. Way to go. And our last award is our Officer of the Year. The Police Officer of the Year this year award goes to two members of our Morning Watch team. Officer R. Jones and Officer D. Booker were dispatched to a burglar in residence call at 3:45 p.m. on June 19th. Upon arrival at the apartment, the front entrance appears undisturbed. As they walked around the rear entrance, they noticed broken glass and decided to enter the apartment. Once inside, they heard a frantic scream for help coming from upstairs, where they encountered a male attempting to sexually assault a female victim. The partially dressed man ran down the stairs and tried to escape. The officers followed him and were able to quickly apprehend him before he got away. The immediate and quick response to the victim's call for help has now earned both Officer Jones and Officer Booker our 2016 Officers of the Year. Way to go, guys. Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Chief Turner. Let's hear it all one more time for all our winners, for all the awards. Ladies and gentlemen, you've heard today that crime is at a 45-year low and it's down another 4% this year. But we cannot afford to take our foot off the gas. Crime is going up in most every major U.S. city across this country. We all must play a part in continuing this historic progress if we hope to reach our goal, as Mayor said, as the largest safe city, or the safest large city in the U.S. We all play a role, and we all hold a piece of the puzzle. ladies and gentlemen, that concludes our program. I want to thank again our sponsors. I want to thank each of you for being here today to show your support for the men and women in blue that go out every day to keep us all safe and put their life in harm's way so we don't have to. Thank you and drive safely.